Yo, what's up with y'all boys and girls, man? Hey, it's Jay Briggs here on this Money Making Friday with my guy Chris Ruffolo as we continue to cook up and break down this WNBA action. Welcome to the WNBA Layup session, ladies and gentlemen. We got a huge card today, man. We got 5 games. Ready to break them down, talk through it with my guy Chris, help you guys make some money. Chris, missed you yesterday. Glad to see you back. How you doing?
Doing all right. Yeah, I missed everybody too. Missed you doing see, I almost did it. The layup session. See, even I have my slip ups. But no, yeah, I missed everybody and a smaller card yesterday. Jay was able to hold it down, but now we're back to the big card on Friday. So I could not miss doing it 2 days in a row. So I'm back here and we're gonna make some money. How you doing?
I'm good. I cashed another top play last night with the Valkyrie. 8-3 on that play to start the season. Just looking to keep the momentum rolling forward. So, like you said, huge card tonight. Love these big WNBA cards. I actually really like almost every game on the card tonight, too. So, let's do it, man. Let's do what we do. We just kick the crap out of the books. Of course, all we ask is that you smash that like button for us. You subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as I always say, man, if you're rocking with me, I'm active on Instagram and Twitter all day long. Chris is active on Twitter as well at Ruff the Pickdawgz. Follow both of us there, man, and let's do the damn thing, man. Let's hop right into tonight's WNBA action. First game on the board. We got the team I've been calling all season, the worst team in the WNBA, the Connecticut Sun. Out on the road facing the Fever. Fever, 12.5-point home favorites in this one. How you feeling?
Yeah, some people might call me crazy for laying 12.5 points with a Caitlin Clarkless Fever team, especially after how they looked in game 1 without Clark. But like you said, Jay, the Connecticut Sun might be the worst team in the WNBA this season. I'm not going to lie. Earlier this year, I thought it was going to be the Sky. To me, it is clear and obvious that it's the Connecticut Sun, who are clearly in a rebuild, a shell of the team that made the playoffs the last few years. Again, it's what happens when you basically tear it all down. But I didn't think it was going to be this bad. It speaks volumes that the Fever are still this sizable of a favorite without Caitlin Clark. They've still got a deep lineup. They're still well coached. It's Stephanie White against her former team. Obviously, she left Connecticut to coach the Fever. But for me, it might, even if it's a fade of the Sun more than anything else, I got to roll with the Fever, laying the 12.5.
I'm right there with you. I did take the Fever the other night against the who was that? The Mystics? Yeah, against the Mystics. I laid the points and they lost as a favorite. I said in that game, no Caitlin Clark, no problem. I still believe that. Man. I'm just keeping it consistent to what I've told you guys all season. I love the offseason acquisitions for this Indiana Fever team. And this team this season is much more than just Caitlin Clark. They got her a supporting cast. Tonight, Friday night, at home against the worst team in the WNBA, I think they handle business. There's a reason they're double-digit favorites in this game. No CC. Chris, if CC was playing, what would the line be? 17.5.
Minimum 14.5, but yeah, she's probably worth about 3.5 points here at least.
Man. I think defensively the Fever look better tonight. I think they hold Connecticut down, and I think offensively they do enough to kick the crap out of Connecticut. I'm gonna lay the points with you here in our first game of the day. Keep rolling. Next game up, we got the defending champs, the New York Liberty. The Liberty. They're 8.5-point home. 8.5-point road favorites over the Washington Mystics. Total 161.5. The Liberty, they're on the back end of a back-to-back. They played last night. They played the Valkyrie. They came out of there with a win, failed to cover. We thought that was pretty much how it was going to play out. That's who the Liberty have been over the last couple seasons. I had the Valkyrie plus the points last night. Tonight, I'm going to go back to the Liberty, though. I think the Liberty, head and shoulders, a better basketball team. I know it's not the best spot, laying points on the road following a game yesterday, but I'm still not a huge believer in this Mystics team. Is ultimately where this confidence comes from. The Liberty are the best team in the WNBA, and I like the quick revenge angle yesterday for the Valkyrie. Um, I felt like the Liberty proved what they needed to prove in game one against the Valkyrie. So just a win yesterday would have sufficed. And they knew they had another game coming up on the back end. All I'm saying is tonight I think the Liberty will come out and look like the best team in the WNBA. The Mystics are still a bottom tier team in my mind, in my opinion. I think this is a double digit win for New York. Not my favorite game on the card tonight, but I do think New York, even despite the back to back, wins this game by double digits. Chris, how you feeling?
Yeah, put the chin strap on. We're going head to head on this one. I'm going to go with the Mystics plus the points. Um, what I will say is that I don't love what the WNBA is doing right now. It's starting to turn into their male counterpart, where you're having late injury reporting. I mean, it was a couple games ago where Brittany Griner was pulled out 30 minutes before the game. Now you've got Jonquel Jones, who potentially could miss this game as well for the Liberty again. Sabrina Ionescu's been banged up, so I'm worried that the Liberty on the second half of back-to-back could rest some players here. Could look at getting some health back or even limiting some minutes. And we saw the Liberty in this same spot last year where they faced the Mystics on the second half of a back-to-back. And the Mystics were catching 15 in that game and still lost by 7. And that was a Mystics team that started the year 0-12. I personally think this year's Mystics team is miles ahead of where they were last season. Brittany Sykes has been playing well. And the Mystics were a great underdog last year. As an underdog of 7 or more points, going back to the start of last season, they're 14-6 against the numbers, 70%. So I got to roll with the Mystics here, plus the 8. I think the Liberty win, but I think the Mystics cover. They've covered 7 of the last 10. I think they make it 8 of 11 here.
Fair enough. We keep rolling. Next game up. We got the Los Angeles Sparks out on the road facing the Las Vegas Aces. Ace double-digit home favorites, laying 10.5, total 165.5. How you feeling?
The Kelsey Plum revenge game, the Aces revenge game against their former teammate. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I'm looking at a couple Kelsey Plum props. I'm either going to go with the over on her points. I think she's going to try to just show up getting back to Vegas, or if they take her out of the game, I might look at her assists. But what I am going to do for the full game is I'm going to take the over here. The problem with the Sparks has been defensively. They've allowed 82 plus in 4 of their last 5, 88 plus in 3 of those games. The Aces have yet to really have a breakout. They've had, 4 days to stew on that 20-point loss to the Storm. So I think they're going to come out with some fire under their butts here and potentially could hit 90, maybe even close to 100 points in this game. But I think the Sparks can respond. They're shooting 38.4% from 3. The Aces have been fairly weak 3-point defense. I think we're going to get some points here. I'm on the over in this one.
Fair enough. I'm on the Aces. I'm going to lay the 10.5. I think they would shed the Sparks in this one. The Sparks are still a bad team in my mind. They got 4 losses on their season, and their 2 wins came against the Sky, who just got their first win of the year yesterday, and the expansion team, the Valkyrie. That's their 2 wins. So until the Sparks show me that they're not just overrated and overvalued because they added a couple pieces like Kelsey Plum, I want to continue to fade them. And then the Aces, coming off the embarrassing loss on the road, returning home, I think this is a good lock-in spot for them, and they handle business here. I do usually get a little worried laying extended numbers with a team like the Aces. They're usually slightly overrated and overvalued too because they're the most recognizable team in the WNBA. But as I say in the NBA, overrated and overvalued teams win in certain spots to justify why they're overvalued. And I just got that gut feeling tonight about the Aces. I think this is a woodshed spot. I'm going to lay it here with Las Vegas. Chris, we got the Lynx and the Mercury. Mercury, 4.5-point road favorites. Or Minnesota, the Lynx are 4.5-point road favorites in this one. Total 157.5. I think Minnesota possibly takes its first L of the season today. I like what I've seen from the Mercury. I'm going to take a shot here on the Mercury. I worry a bit about Minnesota in a game like this. Minnesota hasn't really been too battle-tested this season. 4 of their 5 games have been against really subpar competition. Dallas, LA, Connecticut. I'm not high on either of those teams. None of those teams. I don't think none of those teams, really even compete for the playoffs. They did have a nice win over Seattle at home. I'll give them credit for that. But I think this is their first true road test of the season. At Dallas to open up the season and at LA, those are not true road tests. Today, I think it is. We've seen the Mercury play well at home. They're 4-0 at home this season. Beat Seattle, beat LA, beat the Mystics, beat the Sky. It hasn't been dominant, but all I'm saying is I think they have a legitimate chance to win this game outright tonight. I'm high on the Lynx. I like the Lynx more so than everybody. I don't love the spot for them at all tonight. So I'm leaning towards the Mercury plus 4.5 as home dogs. And I also like the Mercury outright money line in this spot as well. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm with you on the Mercury here. Made a good point. The Lynx, not really battle tested. You mentioned the games against the Wings, but I'll also mention that the Lynx were great at home, but not great at covering the numbers so far. I mean, games against Dallas and Connecticut, they won by 4 and 6 points respectively. Didn't cover in the game against the Seattle Storm, who we've talked about, play their better basketball at home, and we're on the road in that game and went nip and tuck with the Lynx. There's word that Nafisa Collier could miss this game. We talk about teams missing players and what the Fever did without Caitlin Clark in the lineup. The Fever are a deeper team than the Lynx, I think, in terms of the gap between their star player and the next woman up. Minnesota, it's Collier, and there's a bigger drop off there. She's still leading the WNBA in scoring, so if she can't go, that's huge, and this line is obviously going to react as a result. But I'm with you. I think that the Phoenix Mercury could be up there with the Seattle Storm as teams that go stupid, dummy, crazy at home. I mean, 4-0 at home this season. They're a great defensive team. Yeah, they played in close games at home and haven't had the best amount of success in terms of home games against the spread. But this is the first time they're catching points since facing the Storm on opening night, and they won that game by 22. Not saying they win that game by 22 points here, but I'm just saying I think the Phoenix Mercury catching points at home, definitely worth the look here. So I'm taking the Mercury here.
Last game of the night, man. We got the Dream out on the road versus Seattle, the Storm. Seattle minus 4.5 point favorites. Total 157. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm rolling with the under in this one. I just think it's going to be a low-scoring game. You have two slow-paced, methodical teams going at it. The Dream are a team that live at the foul line, live from three-point range. The Storm do a good job of limiting free throws and closing out on the perimeter. On the other side, you got the Dreamers, solid defensive team in their own right in the open floor. They give up free throws, but the good news is for Atlanta is that when Seattle gets to the line, they're shooting just 73.5%. That's third worst in the WNBA. Two slow-paced teams. I think this is a first to 75, maybe first to 80 wins kind of game. So I'm taking the under 156.5.
Y'all know where I'm at, man. The Seattle Storm goes stupid, dummy, crazy at home at the crib. They're my Denver Nuggets of the WNBA. Unless I have a clear and concise reason to fade them at home, I'm not really interested in doing so. This team that lost the Seattle Supersonics, and they've been upset ever since. And they show out in droves for the Seattle Storm, hoping the NBA will give them their NBA team back. They'll be getting it back soon. The NBA will expand, I would guess, within the next 5 seasons. And I would say the next 2 teams coming will be the Las Vegas whatever and the Seattle Supersonics. In order to balance out the league, they'll move the Memphis Grizzlies out of the Western Conference into the Eastern Conference where they belong anyway. So that's my game plan. But yeah, back to Seattle, man. They're just a different team, monster and animal at home at the crib. I trust them. We saw what they did to the Aces the other day. We were on them in that spot. The Dream, they've played well in certain spots. We'll give them credit for it, but I think tonight's just out of their depth. I'm on Seattle. Unless I have a clear reason not to trust them, I'm rocking with them. And the Dream, I think the Storm are the better basketball team. I would take the Storm even in Atlanta, and I don't like the Storm on the road that much. So I'm just trying to explain to you how much I like the Storm. I think this is a good spot for them tonight. I think they handle business. I'm gonna lay it here on our last and final. game of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, appreciate each and every one of y'all that continue to tune in and watch this video. More than y'all know, man. All we ask is that you smash the like button for us. You subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. As I always say, man, I'm active on Instagram and Twitter all day long. There's a link for both in the description below. You can follow Ruffolo as well at Ruff the Pickdawgz. Right above our names is our Twitter handles. Tonight, of course, I have a WNBA play of the night. I am 8-3 on that play this season. Been a really solid start to the season, seeing the board well. Trying to go 9-3 on that play after tonight. I'll have more than just one play tonight in the WNBA, though. That's just the one I will personally have the most money on. NBA winding on down, man. We got the dog days of summer. They're here. We'll have a lot of WNBA and just baseball. So if that's your thing, look at hopping on with me and Ruffolo, man, to kick the crap out of the books during this time period. So yeah, that's what I got for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Roof, what you got going on today over at Pickdawgz?
Yeah, for me from the WNBA, I got a 3-pack on the board. I really liked the card today. I had to kind of pare it down a little bit, but managed to find my 3 best. Also from baseball, I got a $15 pick-off play, and I got a 5-pack. So for me, can hop on a 3-day pass. The 3 days actually less than buying the 5-pack and the 3-pack. You'll get access to all my plays for today, and you'll get two more days worth of plays as well. So you can hop on that or pair me up with Jay. Let's make you some money, especially in WNBA. Been starting to heat up, so jump on board.
Appreciate y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Make it a winning day. We out of here. Peace.